Hello, and welcome back to the couch. We saved you a seat. My name is Luke, and today we're going to be speaking about Invincible Season 3, Episode 6, called All I Can Say Is I'm Sorry. This is the sixth episode, and for all intents and purposes, one of my favorites of the season so far. So first, we're going to talk about the five big things that I just really enjoyed about this episode. We have Oliver fighting the elephant. Wait, is this like the rhino, but it's an elephant?
He would eat a dog. So why is a cow any different?
Is he a vegetarian?
Survive on an all-plant diet. So can you.
Where'd you even find this guy?
Hey, careful! You gotta look out for other people.
I did. He didn't hit anyone.
That was pretty cool. Oh, I like that part. We got Scott showing off how to get his powers as he jumps off a roof. Oh, is he gonna try to fly?
Stay calm.
I love that scene with the clouds and everything.
You can do this. Oh, fuck.
Jeez, that's how I'd be too.
For Jess and Gretchen.
Did he just jump? Oh, he's so... Is he gonna live? Oh, God. Okay. It makes sense now. But, jeez. He could take a punch, that's for sure. We've got Eve fighting Scott, or Power Pulse, or Power Plus, or Power... God, what is his name? Scott.
He is.
Okay, you're coming with me.
Uh-oh. Get him, Eve. Is Eve more powerful than Invincible? I wonder.
No, I am not going anywhere until I get justice.
Jeez.
Give her more credit than that.
Yeah, come on.
You need help, not a fight.
Right.
And I figured out you get stronger when I hit you.
Come on, Eve. Perfect. Eve is so powerful. We've got Scott accidentally... Well, what happens to Scott's family at the end, which is horrible and tragic and Shakespearean.
You're a monster!
Uh-oh.
Pain you've caused, for the lives you've taken, for everything you've done.
Oh, man. They nerfed Invincible. This sucks, but... Dang. He won. No. Nah, man. He didn't deserve that, though. And then we've got the very hook at the end, which is, I guess, like a brainiac Angstrom Levy who's standing there with all these evil Invincibles. Great hook. Is there more? Wonder if there's... Oh! Oh, there's images from the other places, too. There's Mark and Eve on the bridge. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Uh-oh. Evil Marks. Evil Invincibles.
This will do.
We're also going to be talking about some of the things I didn't like. So some of the things I didn't like were... No, I liked every part of this episode. I think this is probably the best episode of the season so far. I'm trying to think of things I didn't like. Oh, well, you know, the Mark meeting Amber's boyfriend. That was just okay. I felt like that didn't seem authentic. They're a little too mature for their age, I think. That part I'm like, okay. All right. Like, how is everybody else more mature than Invincible, than Mark? It's kind of strange. Like, he's so much more self-aware and they're still more mature than him. It's weird. Not weird, it's just not what I'm accustomed to. But the rest of it was pretty great. So first we've got, a flashback to Scott, and he's got powers, but he doesn't really use them and doesn't really know how. And you find out that like half of his family was unfortunately unalived during the Omni-Man Invincible fight at the end of season 1. Then you flash forward to, and it's super tragic. And then you flash forward to Oliver, and he's fighting against the elephant, which is a cool little moment. And of course, Invincible fought the elephant at some point back then too. And so there's a little bit of conversation and some brotherly animosity, and he's not listening to me and blah, 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 blah. Then there's this really sweet conversation between Oliver and Mark and Eve, talking about Oliver's feelings towards their dad and how much he cares for their dad. And Oliver wasn't a witness to the atrocities that happened a year ago at this time on the show, which kind of stinks. Then you go to a family dinner where they're all kind of sitting there, including Paul, who's made the spaghetti, and they're all comparing these superhero stories in college and whatnot. And then Paul's like, well, I've done real estate. And once you've done real estate, you've never done anything that hard. And it's kind of a fun... Yeah, I think Paul's a turncoat. I think he's a spy. Yeah. But then you get... I think that's fair. But then you get back to Scott, and he's got a family, and he's figuring out how to get more powerful to get revenge on Invincible, because he thinks it's Invincible's fault, and rightly so. It might be, but he gets that revenge on Invincible, and to do so, he is going to superpower his kinetic energy powers, and so he gets these discs from his work, because he works at the Pentagon. Works for Cecil, and he gets these discs that enhance his ability to absorb and redirect kinetic energy. I guess that's how it just looks like the Black Panther suit, or it looks like Black Panther type powers in terms of the kinetic energy. And so he tested a few times, and he decides he's going to run amok in Chicago and call out Invincible while Invincible's at a birthday party. Everyone at the birthday party, including Amber and her new boyfriend, kind of look at him weird. Actually, Amber's boyfriend walks out, but everybody else is like, hey, are you going to go stop that guy, Scott? And that dude, and he's like, no, I can take a day off. There's other superheroes out. Like, what are we doing? Which I thought was cool. I thought it was cool that Invincible did that, actually. But he does. Another hero stops him, but he gets away. The next thing that happens is the memorial. And they're trying to get out of the house, and there's this really cute scene. It's like, hey, how are we going to get to Chicago in 30 minutes? Like, what are we going to do? And he's like, we're taking the car. And then you see Invincible carrying the car with Eve and Oliver in tow to Chicago, which I thought was awesome. It's what we would do. And then they go to the memorial for the fight between Invincible and his dad, Omni-Man. And they mentioned that there's like 2,032 total unalivings on that memorial, and it's really super tragic. And at the very end of that memorial, it gets crashed by Scott, right? So all the Eve and Invincible and Oliver kind of take off, and they go around the corner, and Invincible's like, I'll face him, because he's getting called out by Scott. And Scott's like, and Eve's like, no, I'll take this. That guy's trouble. Like, you don't need to be a part of this. This is unnecessary. And Eve quickly defeats him, and the rest of the Guardians of the Globe show up, and they're able to apprehend him. At the same time, Rex and the superhero that can shrink is having a full-on conversation about whether or not they should continue to be superheroes. And at the same time, you've got the girl who can change into a big monster. She kind of hulks out, but every time she does it, she gets a little bit younger each time. She gets a trinket, an item that keeps that youngering thing from happening. So it's really cool. That's really cool that's happening, and it's interesting that Rex and them want to leave which is interesting. I love the human aspect of it. That's my favorite part of like Avengers and DC and everything, is when like you get to deal with them as humans. Thought that was pretty interesting. Even though Scott gets captured, he also escapes, and he goes back home to plot with his wife about how he can get revenge on Invincible again. At the same time, Invincible's kind of trying to figure out who he is and what's going on. And he says, hey, I want to go to the prison and talk to this guy, Scott. And then they're like, the people from the Pentagon are like, he actually escaped. But he gets back on TV, and Scott's wife has come up with this plan that Scott should use his wife and his kid as bait. So Invincible will show up. Invincible shows up. They have this kind of duel. Invincible's, using kid gloves, trying not to get attacked. He takes a little too much damage. I still think he's a little too nerfed. But this guy, Scott, gets to jump on Invincible and uses this like supercharge kind of thing. And unfortunately, it fries the family behind him. And Scott's family's gone. And it's super Shakespearean, super tragic. You can't always get what you want. It's kind of sad. But Scott is then apprehended and taken to prison. And there's this really lovely scene where Invincible goes and talks to Scott. And Scott's like, buddy, I still hate you. Like, nothing about you will change. You're still evil. And it's sad because Invincible is trying to be vulnerable and say, hey, buddy, like, I remember all these people. I think about them all the time. And Scott's like, that means nothing to me. It's very sad. But I'm glad we'll get to see Scott some more, because as tragic as his story is, imagine another enhancement, And so we go back to Mark at his mother's house. And Mark is sitting there on the roof, and Eve shows up, and she's like, hey, are you good? And he's like, I'm just glad you're here. I can talk to you. And then we see the floating camera again, and that's the end of the episode, or so you think, until this great hook with Aimstrom Levy and all the evil Invincibles that I think the mother will play a massive part in. So we'll see. Anyway, that was the end of the episode. Phenomenal episode. Really good, compelling the entire way through. It always feels too short. But yeah, really, really cool episode. But I think that'll be it for us. We'll be back for more reviews and trailer reactions, and also some simple pennies. Just some common sense. But check out our other content. Please feel free to like and subscribe, and take care, y'all.